Hey, me and Matt here. So, it is finally time that Wrestlemania, at this point, left the United States, only to come to my birthplace of Canada. Yes, WrestleMania 6 came to the Sky Dome in Toronto, and I know that my brother wanted to go, and of course, he was too young for that. So, it's kind of the champion versus champion. And Ultimate Warrior versus Hogan. Last year was Savage and Hogan, and this one is special just because of the fact that it's the Intercontinental Champion Ultimate Warrior versus WWF Champion Hulk Hogan, and a surprising turn of events. So, Paul Roma in a dark match defeated Brooklyn Brawler. Uh, I don't remember seeing this. I'm sure it's in a DVD. Brooklyn Brawler is one of the most famous choppers. Uh, Steve Lombardo. And, yeah, facing Paul Roma in one of. Let's see, I'll have to see that match. But then we begin with Montreal's Rick Martel, who defeated Coco Beware. And eventually, 2 years down the line, you would see him as the model. Not even 2 years, actually. He would become the model within the next year. This time he's a heel, um, losing against, or rather, taking focus off of his former teammate, Tito Santana. Coco Beware would, of course, later join Owen Hart in High Energy, and but this was a good match. I think Rick Martel is a great wrestler for the time. Yeah, I haven't seen him lately, but it just seems like it would be nice if he came back. Well, then we have the Tag Team Championship match. Demolition, Axe and Smash defeated Colossal Connection, Andre the Giant, and Haku of the Heenan family. Now, these two, were the tag champs at one point. They had worn a mask to pretend they were Mexican or whatever. I don't remember that, but they did do that kind of stint. Didn't last very long. These guys were, yeah. Demolition was a good tag team, of course. They, at the time, were trying to be the next Road Warriors. Were trying to be the Road Warriors of the WWF. But then, of course, they would come into the WWF as Legion of Doom. Then we have Earthquake, and he defeated Hercules. Earthquake, I don't think I'm not sure if I'd say he's overrated as a wrestler. He was definitely one of my favorites in Natural Disasters with Typhoon, again, from British Columbia. And he would later go on to be Shark Boy in WCW, Shark Man, or whatever you want to call it. I think he might have been in TNA for a while before he died. But definitely one of my favorite wrestlers of the early 90s, and defeating Hercules, even better. And then we have Brutus Barber Beefcake defeated Mr. Perfect and with the Genius. And I can't remember how this match finished, but Mr. Perfect was always famous for counting himself out, which didn't happen here, obviously. British Barber Beefcake, another one that was famous for the sleeper hold and then cutting of the hair. Again, this was a good match. Again, there's nothing more I could say about it. Then we get to the biggest feud of the year, one of the biggest feuds of the year. Bad News Brown and Roddy Piper. What was interesting about this match was Roddy Piper's getup. He painted himself half black, well, brown, whatever. For some reason, that's what he did. I don't know why he did it, but he did it. That was the weirdest thing ever. I never really, you know, a lot of people would say Hulk Hogan was racist, but you look at Roddy Piper. I don't know how if he was racist, but the fact that he did that was really interesting, and especially the story he told about when Andre the Giant put this stuff that wasn't cleaner and where it didn't rub off his body, I guess, before he went back to the States. Then we have the Hart Foundation, who defeated the Bolsheviks, Nikolai Volkov, and Boris Zukov. Boris Zukov. Yeah, okay, good. Anyways, so yeah, they defeated them. I said before, Hart Foundation was another one of the best take teams of the 90s, early 90s. And, it wouldn't be long before Bret Hart would come away from the Hart Foundation and become the Intercontinental Champion at SummerSlam 91, defeating Mr. Perfect. And then we have the Barbarian, who defeated Tito Santana. And this was, the Barbarian was always, from what I saw, one of the biggest guys in the business, the monster guy, and, again, in the Heenan family, and, I think, anyways, him, and he was being tagged in with the Warlord. This match was cool, just to see how, hey, he really had good matches. That sucked. I'm sorry. Anyways, then we have mixed take match. This was, I thought was a SummerSlam match. Like, it could have very well been. I saw it advertised, but this was Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire, who defeated Randy Savage and Queen Sherry. What's really sad about this match is that none of those wrestlers, including Miss Elizabeth, who was at Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire's corner, none of those people involved in that match are alive. And the last person that we lost 2 years ago was Dusty Rhodes. Or maybe it was last year. It makes you think, if you're my age at this time, then my guess would be sad to know that, that you hear that kind of stuff in your childhood dies in a way. Then we have the Orient Express in a tag team match. Sato and Pat Tonka with Mr. Fuji, who defeated the Rockers, of course, Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels, in a count out. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't remember that match. It's been a while since I've seen WrestleMania 6. But, so this was, like I said, I hate countouts. I don't know if they ever had a rematch, but yeah, it would have been nice to see a winner in this one. Then we had Dino Bravo with Jimmy Hart and Earthquake, who defeated or was defeated by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I saw an interview with Jimmy Hart, and what was cool, I just realized now is that Jimmy Hart managed mostly Canadians. Dino Bravo, Earthquake, Bret Hart, and the Hart Foundation. It's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, Hacksaw Jim Duggan won. Um, I know Hacksaw does a lot of, or at least did a lot of, local wrestling shows. With I can't remember what company and indie shows, but he made appearances. I know that in Ontario. I never seen it, but yeah, very cool. Then we got Ted DiBiase with Virgil defeating Jake Roberts again by count out. So that's a shame. I wish, yeah, this really sucks. But this was for the $1 million championship. Of course, was $1 million man's title. And there was disqualification, so he kept it. It's a shame. It's a shame when that happens, right? Then we got the Big Boss Man who defeated Akeem. Now these two, of course, were tag team champions. The Twin Towers, blah blah blah. Big Boss Man had just become face, and to see those two fight, it was pretty cool. And yeah, like I said before, Big Boss Man, I always like to. With the energy and stuff, and it's a shame that he's gone as well. And so, then we had Rick Rude versus Jamie Snuka. Again, two wrestlers who are gone. I didn't mention that yesterday at Wrestlemania 5's match with Warrior, but Rick Rude and Jamie Snuka also gone. Jamie Snuka died this past few weeks ago. Rick Rude's was a good wrestler, and so was Jimmy Snuka. They had the physique, if you will. It was great to see that, and nothing more I could say about that. The Rude Awakening against the Super Splash. Then we go to the main event: the Ultimate Warrior, Intercontinental Champion, versus Hulk Hogan, the WWF champion. I think this was before. This was never heard of before. I don't think, champion versus champion, because, at least not to my knowledge, I remember when I first got into wrestling, seeing Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels for the exact same thing, champion versus champion. Of course, it didn't mean, if the WWF champion won, he would also have the Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, that wasn't the case, because when Bret Hart beat Shawn Michaels at the Survivor Series, he didn't take the Intercontinental Championship. So, I was actually very surprised. I couldn't believe my eyes. Hulk Hogan actually lost this match. So, hence Ultimate Warrior becoming WWF champion. Now, he did have to give up the Intercontinental Championship at some point. But you see, there you go. So Hulk Hogan actually did lose at that WrestleMania. And it's funny to me because I thought about this yesterday. Whatever. Hulk Hogan lost at 2 WrestleManias. And they were both in Canada. But we'll get to that one later. So, Hogan loses, takes the title, puts it around his shoulder, he has tears in his eyes, goes into the ring, face to face with Ultimate Warrior, and hands him the championship. Now, a lot of people said, oh, well, he passed the torch, so to speak. And I don't know if I necessarily would say that, but because if he passed the torch, wouldn't that mean Hulk Hogan wouldn't wrestle ever again? Maybe not. At this point in time, if you weren't a Hulkamaniac, you were definitely an Ultimate Warrior fan. I know my brother was, and of course there were a lot of Hulkamaniacs at WrestleMania 6. I know that Adam Copeland, Edge, was there. I know someone that was there, and they were both Hulkamaniacs, and the fact that Hulk Hogan lost clean to the Ultimate Warrior, it just shows that, yeah, he can actually lose a match and put someone over. In, WrestleMania 30, or, I think it was, no, WrestleMania 31, you see Hulk Hogan and Jim Hellwig make amends. In fact, Jim Warrior Hellwig made amends with a lot of people that night. And it's sad and creepy to see a man who made his appearance in the last 12 years at the time on Raw, and then the next day he's gone. He dies. Whether he knew that it was his time, I don't know. But just think about it. He made amends with Jake Roberts. He made amends with Hulk Hogan. He made amends with Vince McMahon. And then he dies the next 2 days. So that match is always going to be in the memory there. Hulk Hogan giving him the title at the end of the match. And then Warrior becoming champion until the Royal Rumble of 91 and losing it to Sergeant Slaughter. And then that'll be next time, tomorrow, maybe, for WrestleMania 7. And one quick note, it kind of really made me mad because every WrestleMania they have the national anthem. Now this year that I was talking about, they were in Toronto. Now you don't think they could have had Bryan Adams or Neil Young or Kip Mitchell come out and sing the national anthem? No. Robert Goulet. Nah. Goulet! No. I know that his parents were from Montreal. He was American. He was American. And apparently he had to learn the Canadian national anthem. So how insulting is that, The fact that you finally get your WrestleMania in your country and you get a non-Canadian who doesn't know the national anthem to sing the national anthem. Doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense, but anyways, so yeah, that was WrestleMania 6. That was a good show, of course. I don't remember too much, but again, yeah, very good show. And there you go. WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan actually loses a match at WrestleMania. And, so to speak, passes the torch to the Ultimate Warrior. Alright, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.